Good afternoon to everyone. My name's Andy Burroughs. I'm delighted to welcome everyone here today. I'd like to welcome James Collings and Jacob Scott from Anstey as well. The theme of the presentation is making business and employment contracts work for you. We would like it to be an interactive and enjoyable session. Hopefully everyone in the room will get something out of it. We are videoing this as well to make it sort of more available to a wider group of people. Essentially, Jacob and James will be doing the speaking, and then we'll conclude that with a brief Q&A. As a little bit of an introduction, this is the second such seminar that we've run in the last few weeks. So a few weeks ago, we ran a session on R&D tax credits and the patent box with Francis Clark. And this is part of a new program where we're getting external speakers to come onto the park to share some of their knowledge, some of their information for the benefit of the companies on the park and the wider community. So I'd like to thank Anstey again. In terms of the objectives that we've identified from this session, I've summarised them on the screen in front of you. If they fail to deliver, please hold them to account. So this is your session, and I expect you to get something out of it, and I'm very much looking forward to it myself. There are two elements, essentially the business element and the sort of employment element. Jacob will kick off on the business side, and then James on the employment side. So, as you can see, negotiating tactics, knowing your rights, avoiding expensive errors and unseen risk, restrictive covenants, notice entitlements, IP, holidays, sickness leave, bonuses, anti-corruption. I mean, from an outsider's point of view, there's an incredible amount that's happening in this world, and with the party conferences on at the moment, there's obviously a period of great change, so I'm anticipating some sort of interesting questions about what the consequences of some of those changes that we've talked about might actually be. So with that, I'd like to sort of conclude and hand over to Jacob. Thank you.
Sort of the first slide, I just wanted to say that when you're looking at a contract, a business contract, you really should start to just see it as a story. It should tell a story about what's going on. It should tell a story about the relationship of the people involved in the arrangement of the contract. It should tell a story about where you're going together, what are the challenges that you will face together. It should tell a story about what the end game is, what the hurdles are, that if you trip over a hurdle there will be consequences. Are there punishments if you fail to deliver on what you set out to do together? So that's how I see them. They're like little stories, and it might be helpful for you to see them that way too. I think it's also a useful metaphor because if reading through a contract you're not clear what it's saying, and if you're not clear where it's going, if the scope of it, the purpose of it is not clear, then it's probably badly drafted and it needs to be redrafted. And you also have to make sure that you thoroughly understand those, because quite often there'll actually be mistakes in the contract. It's not just that you're not reading it or don't have the legal knowledge, it's just that they're badly worded. So I thought I'd start off talking about how do you read a business contract, any kind of commercial contract. And you may have all seen this email that went around probably 2 or 3 years ago that it doesn't really matter where the letters in between a word are, or even if several letters are missing in a word. Our mind, we're trained to read fast, to skip through words and to skip over whole sentences sometimes, and basically to make assumptions about what we're reading. So when you read this, according to research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter what order the letters are, etc. You read it very easily, and it's terrific in your day-to-day life. It's brilliant when you're reading that dime novel on the train, because you can just fly through that thing. But it's a real problem when you're reading contracts, because it's very easy to make assumptions. It's very easy to let your eye skim across sentences. It's very easy to jump whole paragraphs, and in particular we tend to start off reading the first sentence in a paragraph, and our attention wanes as the paragraph goes on to the second or last sentence almost, where you almost just let your eye drift onto the next one. Well, it's often in that second sentence towards the end of a paragraph where there'll be some crucial thing that you need to pay attention to. So I suppose the first tip is just read your contracts in a different way than you would read a book or a magazine article. Really have to focus in, really have to pay attention, really have to read the small print and look at the detail.